All right, for the record, all counsel and the defendant are present. All right, apparently we have a verdict. I would suggest, and I'll get y'all's input, that if the verdict implicates a penalty phase, then we'll take a break to talk about that, and then bring them back in to give you more information. Mr. Griffith, any input on that?
Whatever the court wishes, Your Honor.
Okay. And are we ready for the jury?
Yes.
Okay, bring them in, please. All right, our jury is back. Please be seated. All right, members of the jury, it's my understanding you've reached a verdict. Have you reached a verdict? And are you the foreperson, ma'am? Are you in your name? All right, Ms. Cassard, if you could hand the verdict form to the deputy, please. All right, the verdict form appears to be in proper form. Please publish the verdict.
Yes, sir. In the Circuit Court in and for Escambia County, Florida, State of Florida Plaintiff versus Donald Wayne Hartung, Defendant, case number 1715 CF 0048068A, Division C, Danheiser. Verdict: as to the charge in count 1, Voncile Smith, we the jury find the defendant, Donald Hartung, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. As to the charge in count 2, John Smith, we the jury find the defendant, Donald Hartung, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. As to the charge in count 3, Richard Smith, we the jury find the defendant, Donald Hartung, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. So say we all. Jennifer Cassard, dated 1/29/2020.
All right, you may be seated. Are there any requests of counsel?
Yes, for the jury.
All right, members of the jury, the clerk is going to ask the foreperson if this is her verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole, and then he's going to ask each second phase. So I'm going to ask you to retire to the jury room, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. Please be seated. All right, I know we discussed previously a 3-day break, but that was before we took a week doing jury selection. So I'm going to, of course, get input of counsel, but my thoughts initially are to take a 1-day break, if that's doable.
It's not good.
Okay, what kind of break is necessary?
I believe we're gonna have to reconvene on Monday. We have to send our evaluator, our psychologist, to go evaluate Mr. Hartung within 48 hours. What he has to do that, he has to develop a report. We then have a proposal. That'll be this weekend, and then we'll be ready to start Monday on our physical therapy.
All right, that makes it simple, and that'll be 4 days, which should be sufficient. Mr. Griffith, Ms. Wilson, any other input?
No, sir.
So I will advise this jury, I'm going to give them instruction, and they'll be back Monday morning, and then we'll have the clerk contact the alternates tomorrow morning. Well, it'd be better if we could do it tonight.
There'll be a lot of coverage.
Right. So we'll make every attempt to get that done in the next half hour to advise them to be back at 8:45 Monday morning also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we ready for the jury?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bring it back, please. All right, jury's back. Please be seated. All right, members of the jury, the penalty phase will begin Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to ask you to be back at 8:45. The alternate jurors will be back at that same time. And although we pretty much have gone over this during the selection process as far as the mechanics of this, I'm going to give you another instruction. Although you have deliberated and reached verdicts as to the defendant's guilt in the first part of the trial, you may not discuss either among yourselves or with anyone else what punishment he should receive. When we return on Monday, you will hear additional evidence, argument by counsel, and instructions on the law governing the penalty phase by the court. It is your duty to keep an open mind about the decision you will be asked to make as to the appropriate sentence that should be imposed upon the defendant for the 3 offenses of first-degree murder after hearing the additional matters in the penalty phase. Therefore, please continue to avoid reading any newspaper coverage of this case, watching any related television news, or listening to any news on the radio that may pertain to this case. Please do not discuss this case with your spouses, parents, or other family members, church members, ministers, friends, co-workers, neighbors, or any other person. Please continue to avoid overhearing discussions by anyone about this case, including other people in the area of the courthouse who may not know you're a juror in this case. Okay, and with that, again, with our thanks and appreciation for your hard work, you're going to have 4 days off, and we'll ask you to be back Monday morning at 8:45. Do any of you have any questions? Okay, all right, you're adjourned. You may now go home. All right, please be seated. All right, so the clerk's going to contact the 3 alternates in just a little bit. Is there anything else to address before we adjourn for the evening?
Not from the state.
Not from the defense room.
Okay, and of course, if I'm needed for anything tomorrow, Friday, whenever, I'll be there.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.